Strength is not found in the absence of a storm, but in the peace you maintain while standing in its center. Have you ever felt a sudden sting of sadness when a loved one dismisses your advice? Or felt a quiet worry about the future cloud your morning as the years pass? The noise of life often shifts from the outside to the inside. We may find ourselves overthinking past mistakes or feeling a loss of the influence we once held. Marcus Aurelius, who governed an empire while facing his own aging body, reminded himself that true power lives within. He wrote that you have power over your mind, not outside events, and that realizing this is where you find your strength. For example, imagine a heated dinner where a sharp word is spoken. In that moment, you find a tiny, 3-second window where you choose peace over conflict. Today, we will explore how to build this 3-second sanctuary with simple, daily practices. I invite you to listen to the end as we walk this path together. Please type, "I control my response," in the comments. I control my response. In our first step toward building the 3-second sanctuary, we must look at the principle of the will. The Stoics had a specific name for this, which was prohairesis. It is a beautiful and powerful idea. It teaches that the core of who you are is like a hidden fortress. While people can speak words that sting, and while life can present challenges that feel unfair, the ultimate decision of how to feel belongs to you alone. No one can reach inside your mind and force you to be angry, bitter, or hurt without your permission. This is not about hiding your feelings or pretending that you do not have them. Instead, it is about understanding that you are the captain of your inner ship. Even when the sea is rough and the wind is loud, you are the one holding the wheel. You decide which direction your mind will take. Why is this so difficult to apply in our daily lives today? It is because we are human, and we deeply value the opinions and the presence of those closest to us. It is easy to remain calm when a stranger is rude at the grocery store or when a driver cuts you off in traffic. You can simply take a breath and move on because that person does not know you. But when the person being dismissive or unkind is your spouse of 40 years, or a child you raised with every ounce of your love and energy, the stakes feel much higher. We often feel that if we do not react or defend ourselves, we are being disrespected or becoming invisible in our own homes. We carry decades of history, shared memories, and old wounds into every conversation. When a loved one ignores our advice or speaks over us, it does not just feel like a small disagreement. It feels like a rejection of our entire life's experience and our value as a person. This historical weight makes our reactions feel automatic, like a reflex we cannot control. We feel we must strike back to prove we still matter. Let us look at a common situation to illustrate this. This is a fictional situation, but you may find it very familiar. Imagine it is a Sunday afternoon. You have prepared a meal and invited your family over. You are sitting at the dinner table, and you offer a piece of gentle advice to your adult son or daughter. Perhaps you are suggesting a way to handle their stress or a thought about their health. You speak from a place of deep love and many years of living. However, your child barely looks up from their phone. They give a short, dismissive reply. They might even say, "You just do not understand how things work these days." In that moment, you feel a familiar heat rise in your chest. Your heart beats faster. You feel a sharp desire to defend your dignity. You want to remind them of everything you have done for them. You want to point out that your experience is exactly what they need right now. This is the moment when your inner fortress is under attack. The temptation to react with a sharp tongue or a hurt heart is very strong. Marcus Aurelius lived in a world of constant pressure and political tension. He was an emperor. Yet he was often surrounded by people who did not respect him or who wanted to take his power. He even faced family members who disappointed him. In his private journals, he reminded himself that the greatest way to handle a person who treats you poorly is to remain exactly the opposite of them. If they are being rude, you remain polite. If they are being loud, you remain quiet. If they are being narrow-minded, you remain broad in your compassion. He taught that their behavior is a reflection of their own internal struggles and their own lack of wisdom. It is their burden to carry, not yours. You do not need to pick up their anger and make it your own. Marcus Aurelius wrote these exact words: "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." This means that by staying calm and steady, you have already won. You have protected your character, which is the only thing that truly belongs to you. You have shown that your peace is more powerful than their dismissiveness. Apply this principle when you feel overlooked or unimportant in your own family circle. Apply this when you feel a sense of betrayal from a friend you have known for a long time. When someone treats you with a lack of kindness, they are revealing a weakness in themselves. They are acting out of their own confusion, their own stress, or their own pain. If you react with the same bitterness, you are simply joining them in that confusion. You are letting them pull you out of your sanctuary and into their storm. But if you maintain your peace, you stay in your sanctuary. You maintain your dignity as an elder and as a person of character. To make this a reality in your daily life, we can use a simple tool called the 5-breath gate. This is a practice you can use the very next time you feel that heat rising in your chest during a conversation. Step number 1. The moment you feel provoked or disrespected, stop. Do not speak. Do not move your hands. Just stop. Step number 2. Take 5 slow, deep breaths. This will take about 30 seconds of your time. As you breathe in, feel the cool air entering your lungs and calming your thoughts. As you breathe out, imagine the tension leaving your shoulders. Step number 3. As you breathe, visualize a large, wooden gate in front of your mouth. This is the gate to your inner sanctuary. Step number 4. Look at the words you want to say. If those words are sharp, defensive, or meant to hurt back, see them as heavy. Jagged stones. Leave those stones on the other side of the gate. Do not let them through. Step number 5. Only let words pass through the gate that are kind, necessary, and true. If you cannot find words like that in the moment, it is perfectly fine to stay silent. You can simply offer a warm, calm smile or a gentle nod. The 5-breath gate gives your nervous system the time it needs to move from a state of alarm to a state of peace. It moves you from a place of automatic reaction to a place of conscious choice. It reminds you that you are the one who decides what leaves your sanctuary. By doing this, you are practicing the highest form of self-control. You are showing that your spirit is stronger than any sharp word spoken across a dinner table. Please take a moment now to reflect on this strength within you. If you are listening to this today, it means you are choosing to grow and refine your character. No matter how many years you have walked this earth, This is a beautiful and noble thing. It shows that your heart is still open and your mind is still vibrant. Remember that your peace does not depend on how your children behave or how the world treats you. Your peace depends on the sanctuary you build within yourself. Please type in the comments. I rule my reaction. I rule my reaction. The second pillar of our sanctuary is perhaps the most personal and physical. It concerns how we view our health and the natural process of aging. The Stoics used a concept called amor fati, which means a love of one's fate. It is a deep, quiet acceptance of the natural laws of the universe. Along with this, they made a very clear distinction between two parts of our existence. First, there is the flesh. This is our body, our bones, and our physical strength. Second, there is the ruling faculty. This is our mind, our character, and our ability to choose our thoughts. The Stoics taught that while the flesh is subject to time, injury, and wear, the ruling faculty can remain vibrant and strong even when the body slows down. They looked at the physical body not as our true identity, but as a temporary home. It is a home that we must care for with respect, but it is also a home that will eventually change and return to the earth. To live with dignity, we must learn to accept these physical changes without letting them destroy our internal peace. Why is this so difficult to apply in our modern world? We live in a culture that worships youth. Every day, we are surrounded by messages telling us that we must fight aging at any cost. We see images of people who seem never to grow older. This creates a hidden, painful pressure. When we begin to feel the natural decline of our strength, or when we receive a difficult diagnosis from a doctor, we often feel a sense of betrayal. We feel as though our own body has turned against us. We might feel shame or a fear that we are becoming a burden to those we love. In a world that values being busy and being productive, the act of slowing down can feel like a loss of value. We forget that a tree is most beautiful not only when it is green and growing, but also when it is ancient, weathered, and deep-rooted. The modern struggle is not just with the physical pain itself, but with the story we tell ourselves about what that pain means for our worth. Let us look at a situation that many of us face as we move through our 50s, 60s, and beyond. This is an illustrative situation that captures a common morning. Imagine you wake up on a cold, rainy Tuesday. As you try to sit up, you feel a sharp, familiar ache in your lower back or a stiffness in your hands. Perhaps you had planned to work in your garden that day, or to go for a long walk with a friend. But as you move, the pain tells you that those things are not possible today. You find yourself sitting on the edge of your bed, looking at your hands. You remember when they were strong and quick. Now, they feel heavy and slow. A thought begins to spiral in your mind. You tell yourself, I am falling apart. You think I am becoming useless. You begin to worry about who will take care of you. And you feel a deep, heavy sadness about the version of yourself that you have lost. In this moment, the physical sensation of pain has moved into your mind and become a story of suffering. The philosopher Seneca understood this struggle intimately. He was not a man of perfect health. In fact, he suffered from a chronic respiratory illness, likely asthma or tuberculosis, for his entire life. There were times when his breathing was so difficult that he felt he was on the edge of death. Yet, Seneca did not see his illness as a failure of his spirit. He believed that the body was merely a temporary dwelling for the mind. He argued that as the physical walls of that dwelling began to weaken, the light of the soul could actually shine more brightly. He believed that facing illness was a form of training. It was an opportunity to show that your peace is not dependent on your pulse or your strength. Seneca wrote these words to his friend: "A great soul cares for the body, but does not become a slave to it." This means we treat our body with the kindness we would show a guest in our home. We provide it with rest and medicine, but we do not let the guest dictate the happiness of the host. We do not let a stiff joint or a tired heart tell us that we are not valuable members of the human family. Apply this principle when you are faced with a new health challenge or a persistent ache that will not go away. Apply it when you feel frustrated that you cannot move as fast as you once did. Remember that your character and your ability to love, to listen, and to offer wisdom have nothing to do with how fast you can walk. When your body demands more rest, see it as an invitation to a deeper kind of stillness. It is an opportunity to cultivate the ruling faculty that the Stoics admired so much. You are not your symptoms. You are the one who observes those symptoms and decides how to respond to them to help you maintain your peace during these moments. We will practice a 3-minute exercise called the neutral scanner. This is a very simple way to ground yourself every morning before the stories of the mind have a chance to take hold. Step number 1. When you first wake up and feel physical discomfort, do not pull away from it. Instead, sit or lie quietly for 1 minute. Step number 2. Scan your body from your toes to your head. As you find an area of pain, label it with a neutral word. Instead of saying, "My back is killing me," say, "There is a sensation of heat in the lower back," or "There is a feeling of pressure in the knees." Step number 3. Notice that the sensation is just a sensation. It is raw data from your nerves. It does whatever it does. You are the observer of the data. You do not have to add the word terrible or bad to it. Just see it as it is. Step number 4. For the next minute, scan your body for what is functioning well. Even if you are in pain, notice that your lungs are breathing without you even asking them to. Notice that your mind can think and perceive. Notice the warmth of your blanket or the sound of the birds outside. Step number 5. Remind yourself that your worth as a human being is held in your mind and your choices, not in your joints or your muscles. Say to yourself, "My body is changing, but my character is mine to keep." This practice of neutral scanning takes only 3 minutes, but it changes the relationship you have with your physical self. It stops the spiral of anxiety before it begins. It allows you to move into your day with a sense of calm dignity. You are acknowledging the reality of your body without letting it become the master of your mood. You are being a good caretaker of your dwelling, but you are remaining the sovereign of your soul. By doing this, you find that even on days when your body is tired, your spirit can remain light and free, whatever your faith or your journey. There is a profound peace in accepting the seasons of our lives. Just as the earth has a winter, our bodies have their own seasons of quiet and slow movement. There is no shame in this. There is only the natural flow of things. When we stop fighting the seasons, we find we have so much more energy to enjoy the beauty that each season brings. Please take a breath and feel the strength of your own mind. You have navigated many years and many challenges to reach this moment. That experience is a treasure that no physical ailment can take away. You are a person of depth and resilience. Please type in the comments. I am more than my body. I am more than my body. The third pillar of our sanctuary is perhaps the quietest, yet it can be the heaviest. It is the challenge of confronting regret and the deep silence that often comes with a life well lived, but now changed. The Stoics had a very firm way of looking at time. They used a principle called the dichotomy of control. This principle tells us that some things are up to us, and other things are not to our Stoic. The past is the largest category of things that are not up to us. They looked at the past as something that is technically indifferent. This does not mean that the past is not important. It means that because we cannot change it, we should not let it change our present character. They believed that our only real home is the present moment. Everything that happened 5 minutes ago or 50 years ago is now part of the history of the world. It is outside our circle of power. Our power exists only in how we choose to be right now, in this very room, with this very breath. Why is this so difficult to apply in our modern lives? For those of us who have lived many decades, our past is a very large and crowded place. When we were young, we were too busy with the future to look back. We were building careers, raising children, and managing the endless demands of middle age. But as we transition into retirement, or as our houses become quiet after the children have moved away, the past begins to speak more loudly. We have more time to think. In the stillness of the evening, our minds often wander into the land of what if. We might think, what if I had been a more patient parent? What if I had not said those hurtful words during that argument 20 years ago? What if I had taken a different path in my career in our modern world? We are also constantly shown images of perfect families and successful aging. This can make us feel that if our lives are not perfect now, it must be because we failed somewhere in the past. The silence of a house once full of noise can feel like a heavy weight, and regret can feel like a ghost that follows us from room to room. Let us look at a common situation that many of us experience. This is an illustrative situation that captures the feeling of a quiet evening. Imagine you are sitting in your favorite chair after dinner. The television is off, and the house is completely silent. You pick up an old photo album, or perhaps you are just looking at the dust motes dancing in a beam of light. Suddenly, a memory surfaces. It is a memory of a conflict with a sibling or a child that happened a long time ago. You remember the look on their face and the sting of the words that were exchanged. Even though it happened years ago, your heart begins to ache as if it were happening right now. You start to replay the scene in your mind. You think of all the things you should have said differently. You wonder if that one moment changed the course of your relationship forever. You feel a wave of loneliness, thinking that if you had been a better person then, your house might be full of people now. In this moment, you are no longer in your chair. You are a prisoner of a time that no longer exists. The Stoics taught that this kind of regret is actually a form of fighting against reality. They believed that when we wish the past were different, we are like a person trying to stop the sun from setting. It is an impossible task that only leads to exhaustion. Epictetus, who spent his early life as a slave and later became a beloved teacher, used a very helpful metaphor. He said that life is like a banquet. When a dish is passed to you, you should reach out and take a moderate helping with grace. If the dish passes you by, do not try to stop it. And if the dish has not yet reached you, do not let your desire run ahead of it. Wait your turn. He applied this same idea to our children, our friends, and our past. If a stage of your life has passed, it is like a dish that has been moved away from your place at the table. To cry out for it, or to try to grab it back, is to lose your dignity as a guest. Epictetus taught that we should be grateful for what we were served, and then focus on the next part of the meal. He wrote these exact words: "Do not seek to have events happen as you want them to, but instead want them to happen as they do happen, and your life will go well." This means that when we accept that the past happened exactly as it did, we stop being its victim. We can finally turn our attention to the one thing we still control, which is how we act in this moment. Apply this principle when you find yourself overthinking a conversation from years ago. Apply it when you feel the pang of loneliness in a quiet house. Remember that the silence is not a void. It is a space where you can practice being a person of character today. If you feel you made mistakes in the past, the best way to honor that realization is not to suffer, but to be a person of wisdom and kindness right now. You cannot go back and change your parenting in 1985, but you can be a person of grace and listening in 2024. Your past does not define your present character unless you allow it to. You are the person who is sitting in that chair right now, and that person has the power to choose peace, to help you release the weight of the past. We will use a practice called the 10-year lens. This is a simple mental check you can do whenever a regret or a wave of loneliness begins to pull you away from the present. Step number 1. When a regretful thought surfaces, stop and acknowledge it. Say to yourself, "This is a memory of the past. It is not happening now." Step number 2. Ask yourself this specific question: will my suffering over this right now change what happened 10 years ago? Or even 10 minutes ago? The answer is always no. Recognizing this truth is the first step toward freedom. Step number 3. Perform one small act of present virtue. This is very important. It moves your energy from your head into your hands. If you are feeling lonely, call a friend just to ask how they are. If you are feeling regret about a family member, write a short, kind note or an email with no expectations of a reply. If you are alone, simply tidy a small corner of your room or water a plant. Step number 4. Focus on being a good and steady person for just the next 10 minutes. Do not worry about the rest of your life. Just focus on these 10 minutes. Be a person who sits with dignity. Be a person who breathes with gratitude. Step number 5. Remind yourself that your life is a story that is still being written. The previous chapters are finished and bound. You cannot erase the ink, but the pen is in your hand right now. You decide what the next sentence will be. This practice of the 10-year lens helps you move from a state of passive regret to a state of active virtue. It honors the wisdom you have gained from your mistakes without letting those mistakes crush your spirit. It reminds you that even if your house is quiet, your mind can be a place of warmth and strength. By focusing on the next 10 minutes, you reclaim your power from the past. You find that peace is not something that happened long ago. Peace is something you create right now. By accepting reality as it is, whatever your faith. There is a great comfort in knowing that you are never truly alone when you are in harmony with yourself. Your character is your most faithful companion. When you treat yourself with the same kindness and forgiveness you would offer a dear friend, the silence of the room begins to feel peaceful rather than lonely. You have walked a long path, and you have much to be proud of. Every scar and every memory is a testament to your resilience. Please take a moment to feel the weight of the chair beneath you and the air in your lungs. You are here. You are present. You are the master of this moment. Please type in the comments. I live in the now. I live in the now. The third pillar of our sanctuary is perhaps the quietest, yet for many of us, it can be the heaviest to carry. It concerns the challenge of confronting regret and the deep silence that often follows a long life of service and connection. The Stoics looked at time through a very specific lens called the dichotomy of control. This principle teaches us that our world is divided into two distinct parts: what belongs to us and what does not. To a Stoic, the past is the largest and most immovable category of things that are outside of our power. They viewed the past as technically indifferent. This does not mean our history is unimportant or that we should not learn from it. Instead, it means that because the past cannot be changed, it should not be allowed to diminish our present character. They believed that our only true home is the present moment. Everything that happened 50 years ago, or even 5 minutes ago, is now part of the history of the universe. It is written in stone. Our power exists only in the here and now, in the choices we make with the very next breath we take. Why is this so difficult to apply in our modern lives for those of us who have walked the earth for 5 seas or 7 decades? Our past is a very large and crowded place. When we were younger, we were often too busy with the future to look back. We were building careers, providing for families, and managing the endless noise of midlife. But as we move into a slower pace, as the house becomes quiet after the children have moved away, or as we adjust to retirement, the past begins to speak more loudly. We find ourselves with more time to think. In the stillness of the evening, the mind often wanders into the painful land of what if. We might wonder if we were patient enough as parents, or if we should have said things differently during a conflict with a spouse who is no longer with us. In our modern world, we are also constantly shown images of perfect families and effortless aging. This can create a hidden sense of shame, making us feel that if our lives aren't perfect now, it must be because we failed somewhere in the past. The silence of a home can feel like a heavy weight, and regret can feel like a shadow that follows us from room to room. Let us look at a common situation to illustrate this feeling. This is an illustrative situation that many of us may recognize. Imagine you are sitting in your favorite chair after the sun has gone down. The house is completely still. You might be looking at an old photograph, or perhaps just watching the clock on the wall. Suddenly, a memory from 20 years ago surfaces. It is a memory of a harsh disagreement with a sibling or a friend. Even though it happened decades ago, your heart begins to ache as if it were happening right now. You start to replay the scene in your mind, thinking of all the better ways you could have handled it. You wonder if that one moment was the reason a relationship faded away. You feel a wave of loneliness, convinced that if you had been a better person then, your life would be more crowded with love now. In this moment, you are no longer in your comfortable chair. You are a prisoner of a time that has ceased to exist. The Stoic teachers believed that this kind of regret is actually a form of fighting against reality. They taught that wishing the past were different is as useless as trying to stop the tide from coming in. It is an impossible struggle that only leads to exhaustion and bitterness. Epictetus, who lived through the hardships of slavery before becoming a teacher of emperors, used a beautiful metaphor. He said that we should treat life like a banquet. When a dish is passed to you, reach out and take a moderate portion with grace. If the dish passes you by, do not try to pull it back. And if the dish has not yet reached you, do not let your desire run ahead of it. Wait your turn. He applied this same idea to our youth, our children, and our past. If a stage of your life has passed, it is like a dish that has been moved away from your place at the table. To cry out for it or to try to grab it back is to lose your dignity as a guest. Epictetus taught that we should be grateful for what we were served, and then turn our focus to the next part of the meal. He wrote these exact words: "Do not seek to have events happen as you want them to, but instead want them to happen as they do happen, and your life will go well." This means that when we accept that the past happened exactly as it did, we stop being its victim. We can finally turn our attention to the one thing we still control, which is how we act in this very moment. Apply this principle when you find yourself overthinking a conversation from years ago. Apply it when the silence of your home feels like a judgment on your past choices. Remember that this moment is a clean slate. You cannot go back and change how you parented in 1980 points. But you can be a person of grace and kindness in the next 10 minutes. Your past does not define your present character unless you choose to give it that power. You are the person sitting in that chair right now, and that person has the capacity for wisdom and peace to help you release the weight of the past. We can use a practice called the 10-year lens. This is a simple mental check you can do whenever a regret or a wave of loneliness begins to pull you away from your sanctuary. Step number 1. When a regretful thought surfaces, stop and name it. Say to yourself, "This is a memory. It is not my reality right now." Step number 2. Ask yourself this question: will my suffering over this right now change what happened 10 years ago? The answer is always no. Recognizing this truth is the first step toward freedom. Step number 3. Identify one small act of present virtue. This moves your energy from your head into your hands. If you are feeling regret about a family member, write a short, kind note with no expectations. If you are feeling lonely, call a neighbor just to see how they are doing. If you are alone, simply tidy a small corner of your room or water a plant. Step number 4. Commit to being a person of character for just the next 10 minutes. Do not worry about the rest of your life. Just focus on sitting with dignity and acting with kindness for 10 minutes. Step number 5. Remind yourself that your life is a story that is still being written. The previous chapters are finished and bound. You cannot change the ink on those pages, but the pen is in your hand right now. You are the author of the very next sentence. This practice of the 10-year lens helps you move from a state of passive regret to a state of active virtue. It honors the wisdom you have gained from your journey without letting the mistakes of that journey crush your spirit. It reminds you that even if your house is quiet, your mind can be a place of warmth and strength. By focusing on the next 10 minutes, you reclaim your power from the past. You find that peace is not something that happened long ago. Peace is something you create right now. By accepting reality as it is, whatever your faith or your journey, there is a profound comfort in knowing that you are never truly alone when you are in harmony with your own character. Your integrity is your most faithful companion. When you treat yourself with the same kindness and forgiveness you would offer a dear friend, The silence of the room begins to feel peaceful rather than lonely. You have walked a long and complex path, and you have much to be proud of. Every memory, even the painful ones, is a testament to your resilience and your capacity to grow. Take a moment to feel the weight of your chair and the air in your lungs. You are here. You are present. You are the master of this moment. You are exactly where you need to be to begin again. Please type in the comments. I live in the now. I live in the now. We now move into the specific moments where our sanctuary is tested most severely. These are the high-tension scenarios that leave us feeling raw and exposed. The first of these is the experience of betrayal. Whether it is a partner who has been untruthful, a business associate who has acted in bad faith, or a long-time friend who has turned their back on you, the sting of betrayal is deep. The Stoic principle here is a radical shift in perspective. The Stoics taught that the only true harm a human being can suffer is the loss of their own character. If someone betrays you, they have committed a crime against their own nature. They have traded their integrity, their honesty, and their soul for a temporary advantage. You, on the other hand, have lost nothing that truly belongs to you. You have lost a false impression of a person. You have lost a relationship that was built on a foundation that turned out to be hollow. But your character, your capacity for virtue, and your internal peace remain entirely intact. You are still whole. Why is this so difficult to embrace in our modern world? We are taught from a young age that our value is tied to our social standing and our relationships. When someone we trust breaks that trust, it feels like a public humiliation or a personal failure. In our later years, betrayal feels especially cruel because we feel we have less time to rebuild. We look back at 20 or 30 years of shared history and feel that those years have been stolen or erased. The modern world encourages us to seek justice, to vent our anger, or to find ways to get even. We are told that our anger is a sign of our self-worth. But the Stoics saw it differently. They believed that by staying angry, we are simply allowing the betrayer to continue harming us long after the initial act is over. We are handing them the keys to our sanctuary. Let us look at an illustrative situation that captures this heavy emotion. Imagine you have a close friend whom you have supported through many difficult times over the last decade. One day, you discover through a mutual acquaintance that this friend has been speaking unkindly about you behind your back, perhaps even sharing private details you told them in confidence. The feeling is like a cold weight in your stomach. You feel foolish for trusting them. You feel a deep sense of waste. You find yourself replaying every conversation you ever had, wondering which parts were real and which were lies. You want to call them and scream. You want everyone to know what they did. In this moment, your mind is entirely focused on their character, or lack of it, and you have forgotten your own. Marcus Aurelius often had to deal with betrayal on a massive scale, including from his own generals and trusted advisors. He looked at such people with a sense of pity rather than rage. He understood that a person who betrays is a person who is deeply confused about what is actually good in life. He taught that they have blinded themselves to the beauty of truth. Marcus Aurelius wrote that whenever you are offended at another's fault, you should immediately turn to yourself and reflect on how you yourself have erred. For example, by thinking that their loyalty was something you could permanently control. He taught that the person who does wrong harms themselves most of all. They have lost the most valuable thing a human can possess, a trustworthy soul. You have only lost a person who was not who you thought they were. You have lost a shadow, but you have kept your light. Apply this when you feel a sense of betrayal in a relationship or a friendship. Remind yourself that you cannot control the character of others. You can only control the integrity of your own responses. If someone has acted without honor, that is their tragedy. Your path is to remain honorable. Do not let their lack of virtue pull you down into the mud with them. Stand on the high ground of your own sanctuary. The second high-tension scenario we face is the trap of overthinking. This is the mental spiral that usually happens in the quiet hours of the night. It is the restless mind trying to solve problems that do not yet exist, or trying to fix things that have already passed. The Stoic principle here is the discipline of perception. It is the ability to look at an impression, a thought or a worry, and see it exactly for what it is, without adding a layer of drama or fear. The Stoics taught that most of our suffering does not come from facts, but from the stories we tell ourselves about those facts. This is difficult today because we are constantly fed worst-case scenarios by the media and the fast-paced nature of modern communication. We wait for a text back from a child or a phone call from a doctor, and within minutes, our minds have built a cathedral of tragedy. We have access to so much information that we believe if we just think about a problem long enough, we can control the outcome. We confuse worrying with preparing. We feel that if we stop thinking about a problem, we are being irresponsible. Consider this illustrative situation. You have a minor medical test on a Friday, and the doctor tells you they will call you with the results on Monday. By Saturday afternoon, you are already overthinking. You begin to search for symptoms online. You imagine the difficult conversations you will have to have with your family. You see yourself losing your independence. By Sunday night, you haven't slept. Your heart is racing, and you are exhausted. But notice the reality. The test result is already sitting in a computer somewhere. Your worry has not changed the result by even 1%. It has only robbed you of your entire weekend. You have suffered 100 deaths in your mind for an event that hasn't even happened. Marcus Aurelius gave himself a very clear command for moments like this. He wrote, "Today I escaped from anxiety. Urno. I discarded it, because it was within me, in my own perceptions, not outside." This is a profound realization. The anxiety is not in the medical test. The anxiety is not in the silence of the phone. The anxiety is a product you are creating inside your own mind, because you are the creator of it. You also have the power to stop creating it. You can look at the thought of a bad result and say, "Wait a moment. This is just an impression. It is not a fact. I will deal with the fact when it arrives. Until then, I will remain in my sanctuary." To apply this, we will use a specific practice called the 3-second testing. You can do this at any moment of the day or night when you feel an overthinking spiral beginning to take hold. Step number 1. When a worrying thought enters your mind, visualize it as an object held in your hand. Do not let it merge with your identity. Step number 2. Count to 3 slowly. 1, 2, 3. During these 3 seconds, do not try to solve the worry. Just look at it. Step number 3. Ask this question: is this a fact I can act on right now? Or is this a story my mind is telling? Step number 4. If it is a story, say to the thought, "I see you, but I do not give you a chair in my mind. Imagine yourself setting the object down on a table and walking away. Step number 5. Immediately bring your attention to a physical sensation in the present. Feel the texture of your clothing, the warmth of your tea, or the weight of your feet on the floor. This practice of 3-second testing breaks the momentum of the spiral. It teaches your brain that it does not have to follow every thought down a dark alley. It reinforces the truth that you are the master of your perceptions. By doing this repeatedly, you build a mind that is steady and calm. Even when the world is uncertain, apply this when you are waiting for news, when a loved one is late coming home, or when you find yourself worrying about a decision you made. Use your 3 seconds to reclaim your peace. Remember that your life is happening right now, in this breath, not in the imaginary future your overthinking is trying to build. You have the strength to handle whatever reality brings, but no one has the strength to handle 1,000 imaginary tragedies at once. Whatever your faith, there is a deep grace in trusting that you have the internal resources to face the truth when it arrives. Until then, your duty is to your own peace. You are a person of resilience. You have navigated many storms before, and you will navigate this one too. Please take a slow, deep breath and feel the stillness of your sanctuary. You are safe within your own mind. Please type in the comments, "My peace is my power. My peace is my power." We now come to the final and perhaps most important part of our journey together, the construction of your own inner citadel. The Stoics did not believe that wisdom was something you could simply listen to once and possess forever. They understood that the mind is like a garden. If it is not tended every single day, the weeds of anxiety, regret, and anger will inevitably return. The principle here is the necessity of daily discipline, or what the Stoics called ascesis. This is not the discipline of a soldier or a monk in a harsh sense, but the gentle, persistent training of a person who wants to be truly free. They believed that by creating a structured routine for the morning and the evening, we create a sanctuary that travels with us wherever we go. It is a fortress built of habits rather than stone. Why is it so difficult to maintain a mental routine in our modern world? It is because we have lost our quiet spaces. For many of us, the first thing we do when we wake up is reach for a phone or turn on a television. Before we have even taken our first deep breath of the day, we have already invited the entire world with all its conflicts, its bad news, and its demands right into our sanctuary. We start our day in a state of reaction. We are like leaves being blown about by the wind of other people's opinions and global events. In the past, life had more natural rhythms. There were periods of silence while walking to the mailbox or sitting on a porch. Today, we must be much more intentional. We must fight for our silence. We must choose to put up a "Do Not Disturb" sign on the door of our minds. Without a plan, the modern world will decide your mood for you. With a plan, you reclaim the power to decide for yourself. Let us look at an illustrative situation of how a day can go without this citadel. This is a fictional but common example. Imagine a woman named Margaret, who is 65 years old. She wakes up and immediately checks her email. She sees a message about a minor delay in a project she cares about. Then she sees a social media post where a relative seems to be having a wonderful time without her. By the time she is drinking her first cup of coffee, she is already feeling behind, left out, and frustrated. Her ruling faculty is already compromised. When her neighbor calls later to chat, Margaret is short-tempered and distracted. She spends the rest of the day in a low-level state of irritation. At night, she falls asleep while watching a news program that makes her feel even more worried about the world. She has spent 24 hours being a puppet of external impressions. She has had no sanctuary. The Stoic philosopher Seneca lived a life of great activity and often great stress. Yet he was famous for his nightly review. He believed that the mind must be held accountable for its actions every single day. But he did not believe in being a harsh or cruel judge to himself. Instead, he treated his mind with the firm kindness of a good parent. Every evening, he would wait for the house to become still. He would put away his work and his worries. Then, he would perform what we now call a mental audit. He would look back at everything he said and did, not to shame himself, but to learn. Seneca wrote these words in his essay on anger: "When the light has been removed from my sight, and my wife is silent, I make an audit of my whole day and go over my actions and words again. I hide nothing from myself. I pass over nothing. For why should I fear any of my errors, when I can say, 'See that you do not do it again. And for today I pardon you.'" This is the essence of the Stoic routine. It is a cycle of preparation in the morning and reflection in the evening. It is the practice of pardoning your past while preparing for your future. To help you build this for yourself, we have created a 7-day inner Citadel plan. This is an invitation to spend 1 week living with the same intentionality that Marcus Aurelius and Seneca practiced. It requires no special equipment, only a few minutes of your time and an honest heart. Step number 1. The morning preparation. Before you look at a screen or talk to anyone, spend 5 minutes in silence. Speak one affirmation aloud to ground yourself. You might say, "I will meet difficult people and hear difficult news today, but none of it can touch my character unless I allow it." Then, perform a practice called premeditatio malorum, which we call the strangers on the porch. Think of 1 or 2 things that might be hard today, perhaps a difficult phone call or a physical ache. Visualize yourself meeting these things with the 3-second sanctuary. See yourself remaining calm. By doing this, you take away the power of surprise. Step number 2. The evening review. Before you go to sleep, perform the Seneca review. Ask yourself 3 simple questions. Question 1. What did I do well today? Celebrate the moments when you were patient or kind. Question 2. Where did I lose my peace? Identify exactly when you let a stranger enter your sanctuary. Question 3. How can I do better tomorrow? Do not judge yourself. Just make a quiet promise to try again. Now, we will look at the focus for each of your 7 days. On day 1 and day 2, your focus is the 5-breath gate. In every single conversation, whether it is with your spouse, a store clerk, or someone on the phone, wait for 5 breaths before you respond to anything that feels like a provocation. Your goal for these 48 hours is simply to be the master of your first word. On day 3 and day 4, your focus is neutral scanning. Pay close attention to your body and the process of aging. When you feel a pain or a limitation, practice labeling it as a sensation rather than a tragedy. Spend these 2 days being a kind caretaker of your physical dwelling without becoming a slave to its complaints. On day 5 and day 6, your focus is the 10-year lens. Whenever a regret about the past or a worry about the future surfaces, Ask yourself if it will matter 10 years from now. If the answer is no, return your focus to a small act of virtue in the next 10 minutes. Your goal is to be fully present in your home and in your life. On day 7, we invite you to a day of silence. This does not mean you cannot speak at all, but try to speak only when it is necessary and kind. Listen twice as much as you talk. Observe the world without the need to immediately judge it as good or bad. This final day is a day of integration. It is the day you truly inhabit the fortress you have been building all week. Apply this 7-day plan when you feel that life has become a series of reactions rather than a series of choices. Apply it when you feel your peace is being stolen by the noise of the modern world. This routine is not a burden, it is a shield. It is the way you tell yourself that your life and your mind are valuable. You are not just getting older, you are getting wiser. You are not just enduring time, you are mastering it. Whatever your faith or your background, there is a deep dignity in this level of self-respect. To take responsibility for your own inner state is the highest act of a free human being. You may find that as you practice this, your relationships begin to change. You may find that the silence of your house feels more like a sanctuary and less like loneliness. This is because you are finally at home with yourself. You are no longer waiting for the world to be kind before. You can be happy. You have found the source of peace where it has always been within you. Please take a slow, deep breath. The week ahead is a gift, and you are the architect of how you will experience it. You are a person of resilience, virtue, and deep worth. You have everything you need to begin. Please type in the comments. I am the architect of my peace. I am the architect of my peace. As we reach the end of our journey today, let us return to the image of Marcus Aurelius. He was not a man who possessed a magical ability to be happy. He was simply a person who chose, night after night, to return to his inner fortress. He knew that the world would always be full of noise. He knew that his body would continue to age, and that people would continue to be difficult. But he also knew that he held the key to his own peace. The goal of everything we have discussed today is not to turn you into a stone. To be a stone is to be cold and unfeeling. It is to be indifferent to the beauty of a grandchild's laugh or the warmth of a morning sun. That is not what the Stoics taught. Instead, the goal is to become a cliff. Think of a grand, weathered cliff standing against the sea. The waves of life, the waves of health, changes, family friction, and personal loss will inevitably crash against that cliff. That is the nature of the waves. It is what they were meant to do, but it is the nature of the cliff to remain standing. The waves may spray and make a great deal of noise, but the cliff remains unshaken. You are that cliff. Every year you have lived, and every challenge you have overcome, has added a new layer of strength to your foundation. You should take great comfort in one simple fact. You have survived 100% of your hardest days. You have navigated grief, disappointment, and change before. The wisdom you have gathered over these decades is your greatest asset. It is a treasure that no external event can take away from you. Do not let the modern world convince you that you are losing your power. In truth, as you master the 3-second sanctuary, you are becoming more powerful than you have ever been. To help you carry this peace into your week, let us look at the 7-day plan. One more time. Step number 1. For the first 2 days, Use the 5-breath gate. Stop before you speak in moments of tension. Let your silence be your strength. Step number 2. On days 3 and 4, practice neutral scanning. Look at your physical sensations without adding a story of suffering. Treat your body with kindness, but remain the master of your mood. Step number 3. On days 5 and 6, use the 10-year lens. Release the regrets of the past and the worries of the future. Focus on being a person of virtue for just 10 minutes at a time. Step number 4. On the final day, embrace a period of quiet. Listen to the world around you and the peace within you. The core lesson is simple. Strength is not found in controlling the world. Strength is found in the peace you maintain while standing in the center of the storm. Whatever your faith or your personal journey, there is a deep grace in this quiet resilience. When you are at peace with yourself, you bring peace to everyone you encounter. Before you move on with your day, I invite you to make a small commitment to yourself. In the comments below, please share one small thing you will do today to guard your sanctuary. Perhaps you will take 5 breaths before answering a difficult email. Perhaps you will sit in silence for 3 minutes before bed. By sharing your commitment, you help build a community of people who are all seeking to live with more dignity and calm. If you found value in these reflections, I invite you to join our community by subscribing to the channel. We are a group of people dedicated to finding timeless wisdom for the challenges of modern life. Share this video with a friend or a loved one who might need a reminder of their own internal strength. In our next video, we will discuss how the Stoics viewed the ultimate transition. We will explore the art of legacy and how to leave a graceful footprint for those who come after us. It is a conversation about meaning, memory, and the beauty of a life well lived. Please remember that these ideas are shared for your personal reflection and growth. They are a way to buoy up your soul, but they are not a substitute for professional mental health support. If you are going through a heavy or difficult time, please reach out to a trusted professional or someone you love. We honor your journey, and we respect the faith that guides you. Take one last deep breath. Feel the stillness that is always available to you in the gap between stimulus and response. That gap is your sanctuary. Guard it well. Master your min. D, and you will master your life. Please type in the comments. I am the architect of my peace. I am the architect of my peace.